Pictures of the closing ceremony of the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations in Cairo, Egypt, where the final between Senegal and Algeria is only minutes away from kickoff. After a month of quite competitive football, the two teams that beat our Harambee Stars in Group C face off for the coveted Continental Trophy. Some argue that we now owe the Harambee Stars an apology. Back home, and we are not serving red meat in tonight's menu, especially after the revelations in Red Alert. But tonight we tell you about an alternative source of protein coming in particularly small doses: insects. Stay tuned for how beneficial these pests can be to you. Hello and thank you for making time for us this Friday, 19th July 2019. I trust you've had a marvelous week. Live from the nation's center here in the capital city, NTV Weekend Edition starts right now. Tonight, county public health officials on the spot of a red alert.
For you to then be the one transacting, it means you're culpable up to a point.
Nairobi County sues supermarket bosses. Also tonight,
or nobody in this bill is merging counties.
The road ahead for the Punguza Mizigo initiative as focus shifts to county assemblies. Plus, grasshoppers and crickets for dinner. Anyone?
If you look at the termites and the kumbe and the like, research has been done and they're shown that they're high in proteins. But generally, it is something that we can accommodate into our food.
The alternative sources of protein that have been touted to solve food shortage. And Ferdinand Waititu's waiting game. The big wedding that was.
Na hii ni yako dada, ukishamaliza kuoga jifunge leso mbili tu, usivae nguo. Leso mbili tu zatosha.
And how Halwale plans to wipe Tuju's ear-to-ear smile.
Rafael Tuju, you are very junior. You cannot receive me in any party.
Bullseye is coming up.
This is NTV Weekend Edition with Edmond Nyabola.
Welcome to the broadcast. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Sharon Otieno. Now, this week that was has presented interesting news on what ends up on the dinner plates of Kenyan households. Well, NTV Investigates brought you the shocking revelations of excessive amounts of chemicals to preserve meat. And days later, Olive Barrows gave a different type of animal protein, the cockroach. Now tonight, Leila Mohammed brings us the story of insects and how they can not only be of benefit to you, but can also keep diseases away. Take a look.
A little bit of mayonnaise, some paprika and a few other pinches, sprinkles and mixtures. The chef at the International Center of Insect Physiology and Ecology Kitchen is preparing a delicacy which, according to researchers at the center, will revolutionize the future of food consumption for human beings and livestock. While the grasshoppers will get a coating of eggs, flour and breadcrumbs before they get dipped into the hot oil, the crickets will be stir-fried with onions and other vegetables before being served with either rice, chapati, ugali or French fries.
So it's Friday lunchtime and you're feeling like fish fingers and stir-fried chicken with lots of beautifully colored capsicum. But then again, this is desert locust according to the chef, and these are crickets. So we are going to try some of what he has produced for us this afternoon and see how it tastes. So here it goes. Bismillah. It's a bit crunchy and not so intimidating.
If you look at generally the Kenyan diet and what we put on our dinner tables every day, we are more on the ugali side as our starch. Vegetables will be sukuma wiki, and then our protein basically is red meat. So you find that we have a lot of things and a lot of foods which are still untapped.
Adjusting to the delicacy that is insects is a harsh and sometimes salty journey for some, while for others, a welcome, spicy one as they have taken it on with ease. Scientists say that the trend is only going back to how cultures across the world consumed different insects to supplement their diets.
If you look at the termites and the kumbe and the like, research has been done and they're shown that they're high in proteins. So and still, if you go to the western side of the country, people still appreciate it as a delicacy.
Before the serving gets to the plate, different species of insects are bred in colonies at the EACC campus, with researchers from across the continent looking at the future of global food consumption. Climate change and decreasing levels of traditional foods, borrowing from the past, is good for the future.
Insects are very rich. Sometimes they have high protein level more than fish, and sometimes even comparable to some of this protein products like meat, as well as other plant products. Then beside that, also the fat levels, some of the minerals like iron, fats.
Taking a cue from Kenyan cultures that appreciated the tastes of the creatures, the green grasshopper, her sister the desert grasshopper, different species of crickets, and the large weevil found in the coastal part of the country, the richness is in abundance. In some Western countries, they are packaged and sold as snacks. With the trend picking up in different parts of Africa, scientists hope that things will change on the Kenyan dinner table as well.
Very delicious.
Dana Mohammed, NTV.
Well, it appears that just about anything these days is edible in the world, except, of course, poison and stones. And we still have more on that story. Directive by the Health Cabinet Secretary will have that in a short while. But staying on food safety, 2 people have died in Kakamega County and 19 others hospitalized after they feasted on a dead cow. A 31-year-old man and a standard 8 pupil died as a result of eating the meat of a cow that succumbed to illness. Zacchaeus Masami has that report.
What was to be free meat and a free feast in Shimanyiro village, Ikolomani constituency, turned tragic. The cow had allegedly been sick for 2 weeks and was on medication until its death. Everybody who feasted on the meat complained of stomachaches and headaches. Everybody who feasted on the meat complained of stomachaches and headaches. And now, a 31-year-old man and a standard 8 boy have died, and 19 other people have been hospitalized.
Nilikula hiyo nyama, nililala. Lakini sasa kuamka naambia mwili yangu inakufa nguvu.
Dada yetu wakati walipochukua nyama wakampelekea na imeonekana amekufa. Niko na huzuni kwa sababu ya dadangu kufa kwa ajili ya nyama.
Amelazwa na watoto wawili na ilikuwa saa 4 ikielekea saa 5. Alikuwa analalamika na umma tu na tumbo. Alafu kichwa.
Nyama alikuwa ameondoka kidogo. Nilipoondoka sasa yeye kijana akanipidia nyumbani akasema sasa mko mimi nimechalia kupata hiyo nyama kibanda. Sasa mimi hapo ndio nikawa nimenusurika kupata hiyo nyama. Hata mimi ningekuwa katika hiyo kikosi cha watu wenye walikula nyama.
Residents have been cautioned against consuming meat that has not gone through the hands of public health officers to avoid such fatal and risky occurrences in future.
Kitu tu tungeomba serikali iweze kuleta wakakusi wa nyama. Nyama ikikufa huku waambie raia wasiwe wanakula hiyo nyama, wapeleke wasike ama hata wachome.
Zacchaeus Masami, NTV, Kakamega.
And tonight, the national and county governments are taking action on the Red Alert expose. Health Cabinet Secretary Cecily Kariuki has ordered all chief public health officials to come up with intervention measures on the safety of meat products countrywide by Monday or the 22nd of July 2019. The Nairobi City County has ordered owners and managers of the 6 affected supermarkets whose meat sections were shut down on Thursday to appear before it on the 2nd of August 2019. The officials from Tusker Mattress, Naivas Supermarkets and Muthaiga Fine Art Meat Limited will have to explain to the court why they have been using preservatives beyond the 500 milligrams per kilogram that is legally permissible according to the county court documents. Some of the proposed offences against them include processing, treating, labeling, packaging, selling or advertising food in a matter that is false, misleading and deceptive in trade. It is the responsibility of the county public health officials to ensure that such occurrences do not happen, putting a spotlight on them as they react to the expose.
Those proprietors who have been selling the meat, which had sodium metabisulfate preservative in excess of 500 parts per million, have already been charged in court, and summons have been issued by the city magistrate for them to appear in court on Friday, the 2nd of August, 2019, at exactly 9 a.m. If they don't appear, I'm sure they will be arrested and will be charged again in a court of law.
For you to then be the one transacting, it means you are culpable up to a point. That charge is what the counties are working on today. My team, public health team, that you know again is involved in matters policy and intervening with TA or intervening whenever a matter goes beyond a certain threshold, is working with these teams for them then to prefer charges, as a matter of fact, today.
Away from matters food safety, and the Third Way Alliance party leader Ekuru Aukot has called on President Uhuru Kenyatta, Deputy President William Ruto and ODM party leader Raila Odinga to publicly endorse the Punguza Mizigo bill. Aukot says the bill, which also seeks to reduce elective positions in the country's governance system, will enable the country to save some 3.7 trillion shillings every 5 years. Vincent Duor has that report.
The Third Way Alliance party is optimistic that its Punguza Mizigo bill, which the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission gave a green light, will be supported by the 47 county assemblies. The bill seeks to reduce the number of members of parliament from the current 416 to 147, increase shareable monies allocated to counties from the current 15% to 35%, and introduce a single 7-year term president.
Nobody is cutting down counties, or nobody in this bill is merging counties. Wards will remain 1,450 as they are, because we want to use them to accelerate development.
The bill also seeks to reduce the cost of the country's system of governance.
Specifically to President Uhuru, look no further for any legacy. If you support this bill, you will be fighting thieves of public money. You will easily achieve your Big Four agenda when we save Kenya shillings 3.78 trillion.
On Thursday night, unknown gunmen allegedly attacked the Third Way Alliance party offices and took away phones and laptops moments after IEBC had verified and accepted the more than 1 million signatures of voters who have supported the bill.
Basi, inaonekana kwamba pengine kuna mtu pahali ambaye apendezi sana na mswada ambao unaenda kulenga kuleta maendeleo kwa wananchi. Huyo mtu ndiye adui mkubwa zaidi.
Third Way Alliance latest win has now put ODM Secretary General Edwin Sifuna on the spot to honor his own words after previously mocking the party's initiative.
If he is a person with integrity, yeah, if he has any integrity, any iota of integrity, and if he wants to honor his term as his terms as a leader, then Sifuna should first of all be apologizing to Ekuru Aukot, our Secretary General who they are in that show on that day, and then offer his resignation. That is the measure of integrity.
And
but
if he can't do it, we can write a resignation letter,
then
he can sign it.
He can sign it too.
If at least 24 county assemblies approve the bill, the stage will be set for the National Assembly and the Senate to either approve or reject it. Focus now shifts to the county legislators. Vincent Odur, NTV.
Now, former presidential candidate Ekuru Aukot is a man on a mission. Through the Punguza Mizigo initiative, our court is looking to pass a referendum that pumps more money into the devolved units and introduce a one-term president. Included in the referendum are proposals to reduce the cost of running parliament from the current 36.8 billion shillings to 5 billion shillings in a year, reduce the number of members of parliament from 416 to 147, and use the 47 counties as a single constituency unit for purposes of parliamentary elections. Other plans are to elevate a Senate to be the upper house with veto powers, abolish nominations in county assemblies and the Senate itself, and cap salaries of elected leaders. Even with 1.2 million signatures in support, the proposal still has an uphill task if it is to ascend. Grab your copy of the Saturday Nation tomorrow and find out the details of this and more. Now, ODM party leader Raila Odinga has once again warned the Agriculture Ministry against plans to import maize, saying that such a move would hurt local farmers while enriching cartels. Odinga says there was no need to import large stocks of maize, yet the country was preparing for a bumper harvest in 2 months' time. Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Mwangi Kiunjuri gave the field day at Odinga's home a wide berth despite being an invited guest there. The Federation of Kenyan Employers is also against the imports.
Tutaki wakulima wetu waumie kwa sababu mahindi ambayo inaleta kutoka nje na wale majangili ambao tunawajua na kuja hapa na kuchafua soko kwa wakulima. Mwezi wa 8 tunavuna. Mwezi wa 9 kutakuwa na mahindi ya kutosha katika taifa letu. Kwa hivyo hatutaki wale majambazi ambao kila mara kwa mara wakati ikifika wanasema kuna upungufu. Kuna upungufu, tulete tujaze. Hapana. Ngoja kwanza wakulima waanze kupeleka mahindi yao kwenye gala ya NCPB. Ijulikane tumepata ngapi, kuna upungufu gani, ngapi. Ndio sasa wende kununua. Wewe unaanza kununua kabla hujajua uko na ngapi.
Now, the petition filed by county governors seeking an advisory opinion of the Supreme Court over the division of revenue bill will be heard on Tuesday. Chief Justice David Maraga has asked the parties in the case to serve each other and file their responses by Monday 4 p.m. Governors had on Monday moved to the Supreme Court after the National Assembly slashed the allocation to counties from 335 billion shillings to 310 billion. The county bosses have also rejected another offer of 316 billion shillings proposed by the National Assembly in the new division of revenue bill published last Wednesday. Governors want the court to give direction on the matter and compel the National Assembly to consult with the Senate in debating and approving the bill, whose delay risks crippling operations in counties. Justice Maraga says that given the urgency and importance of the matter, it should be heard expeditiously.
To be mentioned on Tuesday, 23rd July at 9 a.m. for directions as to when it will be heard. Be ready to be heard even the following day.
Away from that, and the Kenya Wildlife Services officers have intensified efforts and reinforcement in rescuing 5 stray elephants which were spotted in Timboroa, Uasin Gishu County, crossing the Nakuru-Eldoret Highway on Thursday afternoon. A team of KWS officers drawn from Kericho, Nakuru and Uasin Gishu counties, who believed that the Jumbos had sheltered at Timboroa Forest, an Abkoi constituency, divided the operation into 2. The first batch located the elephants deep inside Timboroa Forest and surrounded them, ensuring the elephants do not maraud into the neighboring villages. The second team spent time studying maps and routes which are usually used by the animals while en route from one county to another in search of water and pasture. KWS believes the stranded elephants were on their way to Rimoi National Reserve from Laikipia County on their routine migration when the time caught up with them.
Alikuwa ndume wa kwanza mnene mkubwa kabisa, alafu wa pili alikuwa mtoto na alikuwa katikati, alafu watatu alikuwa kike. Nilishtuka sana, ilishtua, ilifanya miti karibu nikakimbia mbio, watu wakakimbia mpaka mwingine akaanguka kaacha kiatu.
We are about to take our first break on NTV Weekend Edition, but let me show you some live pictures from the Cairo International Stadium where the closing ceremony for the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations is underway. The final begins at 10 p.m. between Senegal and Algeria, the two teams that actually beat Kenya in Group C of the tournament earlier this month, of course. And those are actually the pictures that we are looking at, but this is a story that was prepared by our Ida Waringa, who is in Egypt. And the Africa Cup of Nations finals pitting Senegal and Algeria is minutes away, and our sports reporter Ida Waringa, like I said, is among the lucky fans who will watch the game live. Before she took her seat at the 75,000-seater Cairo International Stadium, she filed this report that gives us a flavor of the build-up to the final.
It's D-Day here at the Cairo International Stadium in the 32nd edition of the Africa Cup of Nations in a final that will feature Senegal versus Algeria. We're currently at the media center where hundreds of journalists have pitched camp in anticipation of that final. And it's just a shame that we're not currently allowed to film anything in terms of the stadium or the pitch. The Confederation of African Football, of course, has several regulations on D-Day, or that being the day of the final. So unfortunately, we can't show you majority of that. But what I can tell you is that fans started streaming in from as early as 4 or 5 hours, well before kickoff. Opinion is divided right down the middle. Algeria looking for another title. It would be their first in close to 30 years, while Senegal, as I said earlier, looking for their first ever Nations Cup.
It's going to be a tough game. I think Senegal attack well and defend well, and it's the same with Algeria. These have probably been the two best teams in the tournament. And in the final, both teams are usually afraid to make mistakes, so they might be tentative.
We are sure that Senegal has the potential to win the game, but it will be a very, very, very tough game because it's a final.
Just a fun fact there, and the fact that Kenyans are involved in more ways than one. Yes, the Harambee Stars might have been bundled out in the group stage, but we still do have Kenyan representation here in the Africa Cup of Nations in terms of two journalists who are part of the production team and the cameraman who will be taking charge of the Nations Cup final.
Thank you, Ida, for that update. The final, of course, just slightly over half an hour away, and I'm sure you are looking forward to that. I am as well, so after the news, I'm stepping out. But first, let's take a break. We'll still have more for you, so stay with us.
Join Telkom today and share life on our expanded 4G network. Telkom, moving with you.
Why are you filming, Mummy?
To help people stop getting sick. People think the weather makes them sick. Actually, it's the germs. Dettol protects from up to 100 illness-causing germs, including the cold and flu virus.
Je, maumivu ya kichwa na kukosesha amani? Kaluma Strong hutuliza maumivu ya kichwa, maumivu ya mwili na hata huondoa joto jingi mwilini. Kaluma Strong ina aspirin kama kiungo. Maumivu yakizidi, muone daktari.
Crazy without your friends. Drink Fanta, taste fun.
Baba amekuwa mgonjwa, amekonda, hata ana nguvu.
Nakata kwenda hospitali kwa nini? Si nilikwambia tuwezi jua kwa hakika kama ni TB. Mpaka uende hospitali upimwe. Na kama ni TB, unatibiwa kwa hospitali yote bila malipo. Tests unafanywa bila malipo. Madawa unapewa bila malipo. Utaambukiza kila mtu kwa hii nyumba.
Usingoje hadi dakika ya mwisho. Pimwa kwenye hospitali ya serikali. Matibabu inapatikana bila malipo. TB inakinga na tiba.
Fresh Fry Premium Cooking Oil now has a new look and an advanced spout and seal. Triple refined, zero cholesterol and natural vitamin E. Fresh Fry, always heart friendly. Now it's even more cooking friendly. Fresh Fry, the premium cooking oil for healthy living.
Rama Homes Limited brings you Rama Towers launch event with a 3 million discount on all purchases. This will be happening at Crown Plaza from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. on the 20th of July 2019. Rama Towers is a mixed-use development located in Wood Avenue, Kilimani, comprising of 4-bedroom luxurious apartments with a 6-year payment plan, 0% interest, and office units retailing at 12,000 shillings per square foot with a 12-year payment plan, 0% interest. For more information, call us on 0709 658 000. Rama Homes Limited, bringing luxury home. EACC has recovered assets worth over 11 billion shillings and filed 400 cases in court seeking recovery, seizure and confiscation of unexplained assets worth over 10 billion shillings. Some of the properties recovered are 4.9 acres University of Nairobi land valued at over 2 billion shillings, the Mayor's House in Nairobi, 20 houses in Woodley Estate, Uhuru Gardens Mombasa, Mombasa High Court land, Karatina Police Station land, Uasin Gishu Hospital, 200 acres of Kalro land Nakuru, Postal Corporation land in Nakuru worth 780 million shillings, Taifa Park Kisumu, among others. These properties were returned back to the rightful owners. EACC, tuangamize ufisadi, tuijenge Kenya.
I was a very young believer when I was first diagnosed with bipolar.
Okay.
And so I went to church, I went to healing crusades to be prayed for healing and expecting to be healed. I was quite disappointed that healing did not happen. Nobody explained to me that I'll be on medication for the rest of my life.
I see.
We are complex beings making our way through a complex world just like anyone else.
Yeah.
It's just that our complexity manifests itself differently in one organ called the brain.
This is NTV Weekend Edition with Edmond Nyabola.
Welcome back to NTV Weekend Edition. Now, the U.S. Ambassador to Kenya, Kyle McCarter, says the United States will not allow thieves of public funds to thrive and enjoy their ill-acquired wealth. McCarter says the U.S. government has deployed officers from the Federal Bureau of Investigations to train and work alongside Kenyan detectives and boost their capacity. While the envoy says that traced wealth will be repatriated, he was non-committal on the steps Donald Trump's administration is taking to ensure that graft suspects are barred from traveling and doing business in the U.S.
The question about recovering assets. We will as well use the intelligence that we have and that we share to recover any assets possible. Because, you know, it's not good enough to convict someone of a crime and not make them pay. They need to pay. And they need to give back, and we need to recover what they've stolen and give it back to the people that they stole it from. And so it's you know, we can no longer just say you've stolen all you can steal, now you can walk away. They have to be brought to justice. And so we're gonna be working side by side, the judiciary, to bring these thieves to justice.
Environment Cabinet Secretary Keriako Tobiko has fired 4 officers at the Kenya Forest Service in Makueni over illegal logging in Kivale Forest. The CS says that after investigations, the 4 have been found liable for allowing illegal logging for 2 years now. This comes as the government has banned logging in the country.
A walk through the once rich scenic forest, and one can see the destruction caused by the hand of man. 4 officials from the Kenya Forest Service have lost their jobs.
Saa hii yule anasimamia anaitwa EACC, anasimamia county forest Kenya Forest Service. Okay? Hapa hii Makueni County. Ameenda wapi? Alright? Ameenda nini? Ako nyumbani.
Ecosystem Conservator Joseph Wakianga, County Enforcement Commander James Nyatich, Forest Station Manager John Gonanae, and Corporal Aaron Gashie allegedly slept on the job, paving way for illegal logging for 2 years now.
Wale wanakata miti hawajateremka kutoka mbingu. Okay? Ni kina nani hao? Hao nasikia wanaitwa cartels, wanaitwa mabwenyenye.
There is so much impunity. Kuna gari imetoka hapa. We have the videos. Imetoka hapa imebeba mbao. The same video ile ya picha iko na mtu gari yake license inaonekana, imetoka hapa, imeripotiwa na huo mtu hizo mbao ameuza.
Questions on the uprightness of the officials, especially while at work, have also been raised.
Every time there's a complaint here, Waziri, the forester or the wardens, sijui ni pombe wanapenda ama nini, that person is drunk.
CS Tobiko claims that the service has put in place measures to halt further destruction of the forest by deploying a rapid response unit. Helen Aura, NTV.
High Court Judge Justice J.C. Lesit will sit and hear to conclusion the murder case facing Migori Governor Okoth Obado, his personal assistant Michael Oyamo, and County Clerk Caspar Obiero after she declined to step down from the bench. Oyamo and Obiero had told the court that their case is likely to suffer prejudice since, in their view, the judge exhibits likelihood of bias. The two spent significantly a longer time in custody before they could finally make bail. The other co-accused, Migori Governor Okoth Obado, was released on bail. Obado had no objection to Justice Lesit sitting in the bench. The 3 are suspects behind the murder case of former Rongo University student Sharon Otieno and her unborn child in Rachuonyo, Homa Bay County in September of 2018. The case will commence on the 9th of October.
One of the issues the court has to consider in a bail application is whether the prosecution's case is strong, which the court considered. The court hearing the matter is not, indeed it cannot go into the question of whether the officer is or will be actually biased. All the court can do is carefully examine the facts which are alleged to show bias, and from those facts draw an inference, as any reasonable and fair-minded person would, that the judge is biased or is likely to be biased.
Now, the water shortage problems in some parts of the country may not be ending soon, as many boreholes have failed, translating to millions of shillings of taxpayers' money washed down the drain. This is according to the Cabinet Secretary for Water and Sanitation, Simon Chelugui, who says that lack of proper training of those in charge of borehole and sewerage systems in the cause of poor water and waste management in the country. This corroborates the World Health Organization's classification of the Kenya Water Institute as a health hazard.
What we have realized, the reason why we experience non-revenue water and sometimes failure rate of our equipment is about 60%. We went to a county last year with the CS and PS. 68% of the boreholes drilled 1 year ago have failed. We have so much pollution in Nairobi because of those charged with the responsibility of operation and maintenance have no clue of what they are doing. We basically handed over our equipment to quacks.
It's now time for another short break on NTV Weekend Edition. When we come back, Julian Amboko has all the business you need to know this Friday. Stay with us.
Nation FM. More music and less talk. Nairobi 96.3, Mombasa 101.5, Meru 93.9, Nyeri 104.9, Eldoret 102.7 and Nakuru on 97.7. Follow us on social media on Facebook at Nation FM, Instagram at Nation FM, and on Twitter at Nation FM KE. Nation FM. More music and less talk.
Who wants to answer? Mary?
Mary has a toothache.
Oh, I see. And who knows why?
Because the tooth is too big.
No, it might be a hole in her tooth called a cavity. That's why I brush twice a day using Colgate. Imagine this is your tooth and these are food acids that cause cavities. Colgate with calcium and fluoride helps prevent cavities for maximum cavity protection. And now available in a 12-gram sachet for fresh breath. Only 15 shillings.
Why are so many children absent? Children have become weaker. Children have not become weaker. Infection-causing germs have become stronger, making infections more severe. New Lifebuoy with Active Natural protects from today's stronger germs.
You in the pollution? Yes, you. Dry throat? Strepsils. Gal in the smoke with a raspy voice? Strepsils. Hello, in the downpour with a scratchy throat? Take Strepsils. Get soothing relief for any throat irritation. Strepsils with its medicinal ingredients will heal the harm down to your throat from external factors. Strepsils. Strepsils for a dry, itchy, raspy, scratchy throat.
Making my family some nutritious porridge is a painstaking process. First, I have to find all the ingredients needed, and there are many. For vitamins, proteins, and minerals, I need cassava, sorghum, millet. You no longer need to go through all that to make nutritious porridge. All you need is NutriPro.
You don't have to go through the trouble of finding, measuring, and weighing all these vital ingredients. New NutriPro porridge flour comes fortified with 13 vitamins, proteins, and minerals. This means that you have more time to focus on what's important, giving your family the healthy start they deserve. NutriPro, bringing families together. From Tropical Brand.
Kujimoto hapo na kujipodopodo.
Dakika moja tu na wewe.
Mimi nakwambia hii date mimi nitakutangulia. Mimi niende nikule, wewe utaenda kule baadaye. Utapata nimelipa. It's the thought that counts.
I'm done.
Hiyo makeup naweza iongeza hivi kachumbari, kafirifiri, naweza ifanyia kakitu juu kidogo tu, tuma hiyo like tuna nikushu, naweza ongeza kaladha haka. Sasa ndio kachumbari.
Wow, ulijulia wapi kufanya makeup?
Mambo ni YouTube.
Get 5 GB free YouTube when you buy the all-in-one monthly bundle. Dial *544# to choose your bundle. Mambo on YouTube.
Children bring joy to our lives, but they grow up so fast. Soon it's time for college, and by that time, college fees can be a huge expense. For as little as 3,500 Kenya shillings, Educare combines life insurance with savings for college. Download the SE mobile app, open an account and start saving now. Be life ready.
Beat germs with Jik. Kills 99.9% of germs on your kitchen surfaces, sponges, chopping boards, sink and fridge, and your bathroom taps, showerhead, basin and surfaces. Just Jik it. Look out for our new improved packaging in store. Just Jik it.
It is time to get down to business. Welcome. I am Julian Amboko. Now, the Federation of Kenya Employers says it is in talks with the Ministry of Housing, exploring how the affordable housing plan can be financed without imposing a levy on the employers or increasing the cost of doing business on the employers. FKE says workers should have a say in the type of houses they would like and whether they would like to buy or rent them, tasking the government to conduct intensive public participation. FKE has in the past strongly opposed the government's directive to deduct 1.5% of employees' salaries as housing levy.
Initially, when the idea came out, we actually did not know what the specific plan was. We have since had a meeting with the PS in charge of housing, and he's explained to us the idea behind the plan. The challenge is still on the costs to the employer and how we can meet the aspirations of government and support the noble idea of affordable housing without increasing the costs of doing business. I think that at the end of the day is the issue.
And away from housing, energy policy makers have been given a wake-up call on how wide the gulf is between certain policy proposals and the reality on the ground. The petroleum industry wants more people using liquefied petroleum gas or LPG, but as Alex Mwangi reports, a lot needs to be done for Kenyans to successfully make the transition.
The statistics for mortality when it comes to the use of unclean fuels makes for grim reading.
Approximately 21,500 Kenyan deaths annually, caused largely by indoor pollution due to cooking with charcoal, firewood, and kerosene.
It is the loss of lives coupled with the need to go green that are now fueling the push for greater adoption of the use of liquefied petroleum gas in households.
In the housing cluster, one of the things that we've done in Legal Notice 100 is to introduce piped gas to housing.
What we have observed is that no matter what you tell people about the dangers of firewood and charcoal and all those things, as long as you do not present a viable option for them, they will continue using those very options that you want them not to use. Nobody will eat raw food when there's a forest there where they can walk and cut a few trees and use them.
The Energy, Petroleum and Regulatory Authority last month introduced a raft of regulations aimed at weeding out rogue businessmen from the LPG industry. Among the proposals is to have consumers pay a refundable deposit for every first-time purchase of an LPG cylinder. Alex Mwangi, NTV.
And that story by Alex is a good case point in terms of the difference between perceived demand and effective demand. Still on energy matters, President Uhuru Kenyatta has today officially commissioned the Lake Turkana Wind Project, which is Africa's largest wind power plant. The 28 billion shilling project in Marsabit County will provide nearly a fifth of the country's energy needs, injecting 310 megawatts into the national grid. The project traverses Marsabit, Samburu, Laikipia, Nyandarua, Nakuru, Narok and Kajiado counties. The wind farm was connected to the national grid in September last year. Speaking during the event, President Kenyatta ordered a reduction on the cost of electricity to SMEs, noting that the high cost of energy is one of the factors increasing the cost of doing business in Kenya.
The 438-kilometer transmission line, constructed by Kentraco, will for the first time in our nation's history enable the provision of reliable power supply and enhance connectivity within this region. This should boost this region's education, health, mining, fisheries, tourism, meat processing, and construction sectors, bringing significant dividends to local communities who reside in those areas.
Now, as the country prepares to celebrate Ushirika Day on Saturday, the cooperative sector is struggling to shrug off incidences of financial distress which threaten to wipe off depositors' hard-earned savings. Industry, Trade and Cooperatives Cabinet Secretary Peter Munya says the revised national cooperatives policy is now before the cabinet and should help to strengthen corporate governance and financial stability in the sector. Scenes of agitated depositors and annual general meetings turned chaotic have soiled the otherwise enviable reputation of the savings and cooperatives movement as concern grows over the financial stability of the sector. Cooperatives Cabinet Secretary Peter Munya says that part of the challenges bedeviling the sector lie in the gaps within the regulatory framework which have created blind spots as far as oversight is concerned. Munya says the revised national cooperatives policy should help tighten such loose ends.
You can imagine since 2010 and up to now, no law has been passed to implement the provisions of the Constitution that devolved cooperatives. So you have a big lacuna here where you have a county government not very sure what they are supposed to do, and national government shy because they are told this and devolved sector. This is what we are addressing with this policy.
To further strengthen the capacity for oversight, the Cabinet Secretary says the new policy promises to not only widen the mandate of the Sacco Society's regulatory authority, but more importantly, leverage on existing investigative arms across the country.
We have also passed, actually, already it's just waiting now for Cabinet. It has passed through the Cabinet Subcommittee, the creation of the anti-fraud unit within SASRA, where the DCI will be sitting in SASRA and investigating fraud and the crime within SACCOs.
With 1.3 trillion shillings in assets and 10.8 million members across the country, there is no doubt that strengthening the financial stability of the cooperatives movement is crucial to further the progress of Kenya's economy. And staying with the subject of cooperatives, now the agriculture sector continues to be the single biggest contributor to Kenya's gross domestic product, with most of the farmers being small scale. But these smallholder farmers often lack the skills and the knowledge to trade effectively, yet most are fully dependent on their farms for income. Now this is where the cooperative movement comes in. Food Friday tonight focuses on the cooperative movement and how it is changing the agriculture landscape.
It is quite disheartening for a farmer when they harvest their produce and then have trouble accessing a market. This is the reality of many farmers across the country whose only hope of a market is through a broker.
Wao unanunuliwa vile wanataka kwa sababu utaenda kuuliza mnanunua ndengu aje kuambia ni bebute. Utaruhusa kwa sababu hauna mahali mengine.
But as the years go by, the farmers are learning that they strengthen numbers and aggregating their produce through various cooperatives, not only to access a market, but also have the bargaining power for better prices.
Kama tuseme ni ndengu, tunaleta ndengu over 14 metric tons za ndengu hapa. Hiyo ndio ile ya mwisho kabisa ile tumewahi kuaggregate hapa. Alafu tunauza ikiwa pamoja.
Mazao yangu yako na soko hakika. Nikikamua ng'ombe asubuhi na jioni, najua soko ya maziwa iko na haitawahi kosa na itakuwepo.
Wale wengine huko sokoni wakinunua chakula ama mawele na bei ya pote, hapa tunauza na bei ya pote pipe ama bebte. Na kama ile chakula yako haikupikisa mahali ya kuuzwa, unakuja hapa unaandikiwa seki, ama unataka seki ya shule, ukaandikiwa, ukapatiwa, ukapeleka mtoto shule.
Agricultural cooperatives continue to occupy the most important place in the cooperative movement in Kenya, helping farmers access information, credit, input and feed for livestock.
Nikiwa peke yangu singeweza kujua maziwa yangu nitapeleka wapi, singeweza kuyapeleka Nairobi ama hata kama ni pahali pengine popote, juu pengine kiwango ni chache. Nikiwa peke yangu singepata loan kwa bank kubwa, juu pengine sijakomaa kuwa mkulima mkubwa ama mbabe ambaye anaweza pewa loan na hizi benki kubwa kubwa, ama ambaye anaweza zalisha hizo pesa nikaweza kulipa na zile interest ambazo benki zinaitisha.
Tangu tuanze tumevuna, na katika hali ya kushirikiana hata tumepata kitu, tumeenda tukafungua account.
Maisha yangu imepandika juu wakati tulianzia mwaka wa 2012 siku hata na motorbike. Through collective marketing nimeweza kununua pikipiki, nimenunua masamba, alafu pia kuna nyumba nimejenga market. Juu hapo mbeleni najua watu wako na mpango ya kuuza chakula, mtu anauza ngunia moja, ngunia mbili, lakini juu ya ile collective marketing juu kuna good market. So watu kama tunapata pesa mingi na mtu ile chakula amevuna. Kama umevuna ngunia 20, 15, unauza pamoja na hiyo pesa unaweza kuipangia vizuri.
Hata nikitoka kwa kikundi siwezi kundanganywa na mburuka kwingine kwa sababu najua vile chakula, bei ya chakula inaendelea.
The lack of market access costs many farmers losses every season, such that they may opt to sell their produce at throwaway prices to the first buyer that comes along. But the stories of success from various cooperatives in terms of better earnings is encouraging more farmers to join such groups. Zainab Wandati, NTV, for Food Friday.
And we'll be continuing with that story on cooperatives tomorrow, where we have a wall-to-wall coverage of the Uhuru Day, of the Ushirika Day, I should say, being covered tomorrow by the President Uhuru Kenyatta at KICC. And that's why we close up the business tonight.
Birthday party, birthday
Birthday party. Birthday party. Are we not invited? We have gifts. Malaria.
Mommy, pest!
Rat.
Oh, die.
Party.
Compared to an ordinary spray, Mortein Doom Power Guard kills disease-causing pests instantly. Mortein Doom Power Guard.
Sensitivity is a short, sharp pain that people experience when they have something hot or cold getting to the nerve of the tooth, causing that discomfort. If the sensitivity is left alone, it may get worse. Dentists recommend Sensodyne to their patients. It's able to get inside the tooth and calm the nerve of the tooth down. And the proof's in the results. It works.
Hey, mister. Where you going?
Men clean their cars themselves. I'll also clean my own bike. I'm grown up now.
Then you'll need this.
The most pleasant surprise for a mother is to see her child growing up.
But I know as he learns to take more responsibility, he'll face more dirt, germs, and the risk of illness.
That's why you need strong Dettol protection, because Dettol cleans and protects against 100 illness-causing germs.
Growing up means Dettol protection.
Germs with Jick. Kills 99.9% of germs on your kitchen surfaces, sponges, chopping boards, sink and fridge, and your bathroom taps, shower head, basin and surfaces. Just Jick it. Look out for our new improved packaging in store. Just Jick it.
Can I buy a chocolate, please? It's for my mom. Happy birthday, Mom.
Thank you, Bella. There's a class and a half in everyone.
This is NTV Weekend Edition with Edmond Nyabola.
Welcome back to NTV Weekend Edition, and before I continue, I'd like to apologize for something that we aired before on the broadcast, that story about the Cabinet Secretary for Environment interdicting 4 Kenya Forest Service officials. In one of the graphics, we did indicate that the officials were from the Kenya Wildlife Service. That is not the case. They are in fact from the Kenya Forest Service, and we want to apologize to the Kenya Wildlife Service for that. All right. The quest for happiness was evident throughout the week. While some tied the knot, for some, a broad ear-to-ear smile is how they showed their contentment. But one person's contentment, it turns out, can be another's grief, and as Emmanuel Juma now reports on Bullseye, anticipation of an arrest is worse than the act of the arrest itself. Just ask Ferdinand Waititu.
There is Waititu, dressed differently, almost incognito, but that has to be Baba Yao. Waititu, I would run if I were you. EACC sleuths could be waiting around the corner.
Utajificha ni unijificha wapi? Mimi kwa chojo. Unajua watu wanapiga propaganda kila siku.
Playing hardball, the tough guy. But you have been missing in action, Baba Yao.
Sasa wapi? Si mimi ndio huyu.
Well, a man has got to do what a besieged Baba Yao has got to do. He was on a Meet the People tour to touch base after a self-imposed exile, which he denies and admits with the same mouth.
Utajificha ni unijificha wapi?
Siku mingi siku nimeonekana kwa TV, nilijificha.
And that's how a day in the life of Baba Yao sounds like these days, blowing hot and cold. But here, everything was hot. Kamodho was wedding Mumbi, and modernity and tradition came face to face. Some got it.
Na hii ni yako dada, ukishamaliza kuoga jifunge leso 2 tu, usivae nguo. Leso 2 tu zatosha.
Others, well, they just remained themselves. It was Angurario, and as they always do, a little bit of competition. Steve, tell us about Ngurario.
This Ngurario thing has opened my eyes. It is the first one I've come to. When is the next one? I want to be the first to get there.
How about you, Baba?
Na mimi nimetembea mambo ya Ngurario najua sana.
Okay. Then it was time to do what wazees do. Cancel the newlyweds.
Hi.
Kamodo,
I can guarantee you, you have married a wonderful girl.
You got it.
Sasa ile mebaki Ann. Hiyo nguvu yote umeweka kwa kazi hizo. Sasa utumie hiyo nguvu yote kuhakikisha Kamodo smiles every time he comes home in the evening.
True. After all, behind the success of every man is a woman.
Ninauliza mwanamke nafanya nini nyuma ya mwanamume?
Not me, Baba. Not my words. It's those people we call in Kiswahili wahenga.
Hana kazi huko. Mwanamke hana kazi tu mbele ya mwanamume, ama sivyo?
And that too is wise counsel. As for Steve, all that he wants is another baby.
Sasa mmekuwa blessed, mzae muongeze wale watoto mko nao, muongeze zaidi. Muongeze zaidi, mujaze nchi.
And this was happiness. And as they say, there are those who just don't want to see you happy.
Rafael Tuju, you are very junior. You cannot receive me in any party. I was received by the deputy party leader, William Ruto.
All Tuju did was to do a jig in the company of Jim and Otiende Amolo.
Wakati Raila aliruka, akaenda karibu na Uhuru, nikajua amekuja kupomoa. Msumeno wake wa kukata, nyundo yake, tindo ya kupomoa, anaitwa Rafael Tuju. Msipotoa hiyo, atamnyorosha.
Someone is playing rough on Rafael, keen to wipe away that smile. But now Tuju, pronounced by Kalwale as...
anaitwa Rafael Tuju.
Yes, that one. He has to choose his dancing partners very carefully. Life can be tough sometimes, unpredictable, very uncertain, painful. Waititu, are you ready for this?
Unajua mambo unajua, wacha nikwambie, watu wengi hapa Kiambu wamejiingiza kwa mambo ya propaganda.
Back to Kirinyaga.
Nikaona mjamaa ameshika bibi, sasa anageuka kuwa simba.
And then that moment everyone waits for during a wedding. That, I'm told, doesn't happen during Angurario. Emmanuel Juma, Bullseye, NTV.
By decree of opposition leader Raila Odinga, the saying has now changed to in front of every successful man is a woman. It's no longer behind Baba Amesema, and we can only follow his path. Let me show you some live pictures from the Cairo International Stadium in Egypt, where the final of the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations is about to get underway. Senegal and Algeria, the national anthems just about to be sung, or I believe have been sung, in readiness for kickoff. Brian Otwal has more details after the break.
He couldn't walk. Alipokuja alikuwa anatambaa.
Mtoto ambaye ako weak akiwa anafanya fitness end up being strong.
Kutoka nilete hapa namuona yuko na improvement nzuri sana. Kuongea anaweza kuongea, kibiduleke chake kiko strong. Licho umri mdogo alionao na ulemavu wanakumbana nao, watoto hawa wanaweza kujitengenezea wenyewe bidhaa zao.
Tunawa-equip ili wasije wakawa wa kuombaomba.
Pia tumeanza system ya kuintroduce self defense.
Siku hizi hakuna mtoto wako salama. Tumesikia mambo mengi. Watoto wenye mahitaji maalum wanapachikwa mimba. Ni muhimu wakiwa na hiyo skill.
Can I buy a chocolate, please? It's for my mom. Happy birthday, Mom.
Thank you, Bella. There's a class and a half in everyone.
When I would take a book to read, words really didn't make sense. I had zero comprehension.
It's a specific learning difficulty that mainly affects literacy.
What is really wrong with me? Did I fall when I was a child and hurt my brain?
The reverse letters B and D and P and Q sometimes look the same.
And for my daughter, is it true you see, can you see, yeah, sometimes the letters are moving. And in your normal mind you're thinking, how could letters be moving?
Health Diary in association with KEMSA.
KEMSA has steadily grown from simple storage handling to an innovative, fully fledged healthcare distribution service, affordable healthcare for all citizens.
I was a very young believer when I was first diagnosed with bipolar.
Okay.
And so I went to church, I went to healing crusades to be prayed for healing and expecting to be healed. I was quite disappointed that healing did not happen. Nobody explained to me that I'll be on medication for the rest of my life.
I see.
We are complex beings making our way through a complex world just like anyone else.
Yeah.
It's just that our complexity manifests itself differently in one organ called the brain.
Let's have a look at the day's sports news. Welcome, my name is Brian Otual. Peter Emase claimed his maiden Kenya Prison Service Athletics Championships men's 10,000 meters title at the Kasarani Stadium. Emase broke away midway through the race to win in 28 minutes 38.4 seconds. 2016 Africa 10,000 meter silver medalist Wilfred Kimitei was second with Cornelius Kangongo third. Former national junior champion Jeffrey Mutai set the fastest qualifying time of 54 seconds to reach 54 seconds to reach the 400 meters final. Former national champion Ibrahim Muia, Philip Ngwono and Stephen Barasa will battle in the men's 100 meters final on Saturday. Prisons is looking for a team to fly its flag during the national championships, which will double up as the national trials for the World Championships slated for September 28th to October 6th in Doha, Qatar. And veteran volleyball coach Paul Gitau has made a passionate plea to the government to give volleyball the respect it deserves and support the Malkia Strikers 100% ahead of the Africa Games in Morocco next month. The volleyball queens finished second to Cameroon in the just concluded Africa Championships.
Wale wasichana hawapei ile attention inatakikana kupewa timu ambayo inaenda kuwakilisha nchi. Kwa nini nasema vile? Udhamini wake ile wa National Oil wanajaribu kweli, lakini mahitaji ya ile timu si ya National Oil peke yake. Ile ni timu ambayo inaakilisha serikali kuu, inaakilisha the 40 million people. Kwa hivyo matayarisho yake na morali yake inatakikana pati kubwa yake itoke kwa serikali. Lakini sasa ukiangalia wale wasichana walikaa pale Kasarani wanafanya maandalizi na vijana, friendly matches na vijana. Mimi kwangu ile ni mchezo tu, ile ni mchezo ya paka na pale.
And to Cairo right now, the Africa Cup of Nations final is ongoing and Algeria are already leading 1-0 against Senegal. The pictures that you can see, if we can have them, courtesy Super Sport. Already Algeria are leading 1-0 against Senegal just 2 minutes into the match. A tough one. This is Algeria seeking their second title while Senegal are seeking their first Africa Cup of Nations title.
December babes, haki si mnatusumbua. Hati yo sijui calm down is my birthday. Sijui all people were born the same but legends were born in December. Mbona mnajisikianga hivyo ama mnaonanga mkikaa kale kamkate ka mwisho?
Nani?
Shetani machana
Shetani mugani? Shetani mugani? Tebu tuone shetani mugani?
Johnny.
Oh, kametokwa ho!
Lessons of animal breeding, something they would like to get into in the future.
Victor played in...
Upcoming footballers will this weekend get a chance to showcase their footballing talent during the Wanyama Royal Charity Cup, the tournament that is in its second edition and which will be held on Saturday and Sunday at the St. Mary's School, got a sponsorship boost to the tune of 1 million shillings from milk processing company Brookside Dairy.
Brookside has committed. Is committed to nurturing sports, especially nurturing our youth and talent. Yeah. And one of the things we've committed and we've been doing it for the last over a decade, is sponsoring the Term 1 games in our secondary schools.
By doing this, they are helping more young talents and to nurture the kids to be greater players and maybe to pass the level we've reached, maybe to play in bigger clubs.
The Wanyama Royal Charity Cup was launched in June last year. Its main objective is to help identify budding players, sensitize the youth on the importance of a healthy lifestyle and education, as well as help them develop their sporting careers professionally.
I came under their program. They are supporting the secondary school games, and it gave us the chance to showcase our talent. And I think hopefully we can get good players to go and play for our national team and do well as well.
But the main goal hopefully will be to select players from the tournament, set up an academy, which we are well into. We've already started the plans. Eventually it's just to develop players from where they are and hopefully try and get market for them either in the country or outside the country. That's the long term.
The Wanyamas have made a splash in the sporting world, but with sports careers being short-lived, Victor and McDonald have their eyes on the future. The two brothers were taken through a tour of the dairy farm as they have plans to engage in animal farming after football.
Mimi nimekuwa na hiyo passion ya animals. Agent wangu amekuwa nazo, so nimekuwa kila saa nilikuwa nikiziona sana. So ni kitu poa, alafu my season ndo nataka kuianzisha, so it's a good idea.
16 boys and 8 girls teams will take part in the Wanyama Royal Charity Cup, with the boys winners banking 500,000 shillings, while the girls winners pocket 300,000 shillings. Moving on, the 2019 Stanbic Bank National Sevens Circuit kicks off tomorrow with the Kakamega Sevens being hosted by Western Bulls and the Kabras Sugar at the Bull Ring in Kakamega. The event is a replacement of the Sepetuka Sevens, which was hosted by Homeboys in Eldoret for 2 seasons. The series defending champions Menengai Cream Homeboys are in Pool A together with Resolution Impala Saracens, Menengai Oilers and Western Bulls. Stanbic Mwamba headline Pool B, where they will play Nondis, Mean Machine and the invitational side Kisumu RFC. Pool C comprises of KCB, Kabras Sugar, Kisii RFC and University side Masinde Muliro. Top Fry Nakuru is in Pool D alongside Kenya Harlequins, Strathmore Leos and Egerton Wasps. And debutants Ferrari were given first pick in the pro draft for the 2019 Formula One Esports Series as Formula One's oldest, most successful and glamorous brand joined the growing industry after sitting out the first season. The draft was billed as a final straight for 42 gamers hoping to join the official F1 esports teams. Some 109,000 gamers from 156 countries entered the qualifying competition, a 65% increase on 2018. The 42 aged from 16 to 29 years old included 6 who competed in the series last year but were not retained by their teams. 4 live events will now be held, comprising a total of 12 races between September and December to determine the F1 esports champion and winning team. The prize fund has more than doubled from 2018 to a total of $500,000 US. And back home.
Slay Queen ni watu wezi simama na mguu zao zikiwa pamoja.
Simshaona vile yeye jikunja hapa. Kuchukulia kapasi tu kadogo kazuri.
Like, are we together?
Yes, yes.
So, like, you know, when he said that he's not ready.
Together like that.
Askari mwenye aliingia nadhani hajawahi patana na maiti ikiwa serious. Enda kuleta kichwa tukakutana yeye niki. Nilikongaga jeneza wakaachilia korami paraga chani karuka nene wakasema shaitani. Polisi mbio, mimi mbio, raia mbio kuondoka. Nisikie mama moja.
All right, that's a sport. A lot more tomorrow in our subsequent bulletins, as well as from 2 p.m. to 4 we have top sports to discuss much more, including Africa Cup of Nations, which Algeria is leading right now against Senegal. That final going on right now in Cairo. A lot more tomorrow. Back to you, Edmond.
Thank you so much, Brian Otwell, for the sports. And indeed, the Africa Cup of Nations final is currently underway, 10 minutes in. And like Otwell said, Algeria have scored Baghdad Bouneja, and this could actually be a problem for Senegal because their best defender, Kalidou Koulibaly, is out injured. I have to rush out of studio to go and look at that final. Those pictures, as you can see there, are courtesy of Supersport because the trend is coming up.
The
Wicked Edition, every Friday from 7:30.
Tonight has been Flora Atieno. Bye-bye.